and hope you're able to see me, and hope you guys are able to hear me as well. We're live on social media platforms. I'm connecting with my LinkedIn audience, my Facebook audience, as well as my YouTube fam. So all three of my families over here, hope you guys are doing well. And today we'll try to talk about communication in general and mostly about written communication skills, which would help you land your dream opportunity, dream job, and how you can use that and how you can make sure that you are using the right written communication. Maybe you're communicating with your colleague, maybe with your friends, and all such people. So we have got some people joining in. Hello, Anmol Deepji, namaste. And so hi guys, hope you're doing well, and hope you guys are doing awesome, and hope you guys had a wonderful week. So what we'll be trying to discuss is how you can improve your written communication skills, right? So let's try to do that. I'll be sharing some tools as well, which would help you improve your communication skills. So Anmol Deepji is saying it's going to be a productive session. Thank you so much, Anmol Deepji, for showing your trust, and I'm hopeful that it would be a useful session. So, guys, communication skills is something which is important, and it is important because whether you're using verbal communication, you're talking to someone, or you're basically sending out a message, or you are basically writing an email, the way you write it, the terminology you use, the words you use makes a huge difference. So that is something which we are going to talk about. That is something which we are going to speak about. How should you communicate and how should you talk to maybe your seniors, your juniors, your colleagues, your friends, and those things. So let's get started. So guys, when we are communicating, maybe written word or maybe in the verbal communication, there are certain things which we need to be aware of. For example, who is the other person and what do they normally expect. For example, I think a lot of people joining my Facebook. Okay, so when we are talking about communication in the written format, maybe in the verbal format, we have to be sure, or we have to think about what the other person, how the other person normally communicates, right? So we've got some more people joining in, discussing how to become an international public speaker. Your title is incorrectly written. Oh, I guess is this Rohanji? Oh, Rohanji, that's good. Thank you so much for making sure that you have pointed this out. Yes, Rohanji, thank you so much. I would like to thank you for pointing that mistake out. And the way you pointed out was very nice. In fact, it was very softly and subtly put out. Sometimes people would want to pull your leg for that, but I think I would like to appreciate Rohanji for putting the message subtly. So I'll just correct that. Thank you so much. I'll just do the same. That is an example, guys. That is an example as to how you can use communication in the proper format. I mean, have a look at this. The way he puts his message across, it's so nice. And I'll also highlight his particular chat in the video overlay, discussing how to become an international public speaker. Your title is incorrectly written, my friend. So just when you look at this small, simple, sweet message of Mr. Rohan, he very softly puts out his pointer, because he's aware if he just points out the mistake, the other person may feel bad. So he is assuming that, he is presuming that. So this is one thing which I was either way to discuss, and thanks to Mr. Rohan that he's pointed out and he's brought this pointer into the discussion so early and in a beautiful manner. So guys, when we are talking, when we are saying something, we also have to assume, we also have to think, we have to be empathetic, and we have to think about what the other person would feel, how the other person would take it. So for example, if you are a coach and you are talking to a student and you point out a mistake of a student in front of the entire class, having given over 1,000 sessions alone in digital marketing in the past or 2 odd years or so. I know I've given a lot of sessions, and many a times you have to, and in the digital marketing sessions, I have to say these are the things which is not correct, to the student. So if I have to say that, and if I point it out directly in front of the entire class, the student may not feel the best of feelings. He or she may not take it in the best of fashion. Even though as a trainer, as a coach, I am just trying to say what is maybe good for them according to me in that particular field. But that might not be shared, that might not be taken in that fashion. So it is my responsibility to assume and to think that what would the other person feel about giving feedback. So having thought about that, I have to share the feedback in that particular fashion. So whenever you want to share something, maybe give some feedback to a student, your trainer, your coach, and you're providing feedback, you could always assume that if I would have been in the student's place and I would have been told this particular mistake of mine, if I would have been given this feedback in front of the entire class, then how would I feel about it? For example, just imagine a student is very excited and he or she basically shares what they feel is right in the class, and they go on, not for 10 seconds, not for 20 seconds, not for 30 seconds, but for a minute or so, thinking because they're excited, they're super excited that they are right and their concept is correct, and they go ahead and spend a minute saying about and talking about a particular thing. And then as a trainer, I suddenly come in and say in front of the entire class, oh, that is absolutely wrong. Just imagine the impact the student would have. The student would not feel very good that he or she tried and spoke for a minute or so, and they gave their best, and they were immediately stopped in between, or maybe they were immediately told that it is not the right thing or something along those lines. So the next time the student wants to speak something, he or she would definitely think a lot. They would definitely think, should I speak the next time or not? Should I go ahead and take the risk or not? So because of that, we need to be sure how we are putting our message across. So this is one thing, the written format, or you may be speaking, communicating verbally, whatever the case may be, you can always be on the safer side. You can always try to share your view, your feedback, your comment, your advice, of course, if it's asked for, and then you give the advice, that is, I think, in my opinion, better than giving an advice to people who have not even asked for our advice. So sometimes, people may not like if we are giving our advice, even they have not asked for one. So that is something which we can make sure of, that giving advice while we are asked for one. So those are certain things which I wanted to talk about, that in maybe written communication, verbal communication, we just need to make sure that we are understanding the other person's perspective, and of we are thinking as to how the other person would feel. So for that we need to be empathetic, and we need to imagine how would we feel if someone comes ahead and says a thing like that to our face in front of everyone. Would we be okay? If I am okay with that, then there are good chances that the other person would be okay as well. So when we are communicating, when we are talking, make sure that you are always mostly on the safer side, and speaking and communicating in a way so that the other person doesn't get hurt, or the emotions are basically not hurt just because of the way we use certain words or certain terminologies. So that is something which I wanted to discuss about. That is something which we'll be discussing about more in the upcoming live sessions as well, about communication and public speaking, verbal communication, written communication, and how we could improve that. For example, a student who is going ahead and talking to a recruiter, or maybe a CEO, founder of a company. So it is very important that when the student is talking with the recruiter or the CEO of the company, the way they are speaking is quite professional. It's not like a typical message like, hello Mr., for example, hello Mr. Recruiter, whatever the name may be, let's say, Let's take a name. So let's say their name is Rahul, the recruiter, or the founder of the company is Mr. Rahul, and Mr. Rahul has the entire power in their hands, and they can decide whether to hire a person or not. So I come to, I'm a student, I want to get this job badly. I want that experience, I want that salary. That is something which I like, it's like my dream job. So I go ahead and talk and communicate with the recruiter, maybe let's say via social media platform called LinkedIn. So the first message which I send out to them is going to create either a very good impression of mine or a very bad one. So let's say I send them a message. While sending them a connection request, let's say I send them a message. Now this message, if it's a typical message like, "Hello, Mr. Rahul, I'm looking for a job, or maybe I'm looking for a job change. Kindly let me know if you have one." Now, if the other person sees such a message as the first message, you are sending them, you are having a conversation for the first time, and you're sending this message. Well, I can tell you definitely most of the times it won't go very well, because the other person would feel you didn't take the time and effort to build a relationship, you didn't take the time and effort to build a connection, and you are just talking with them for the sake of you getting a job. Now that might not give you the best of chances for landing that dream job. So what can we do? So maybe when we are sending them a connection request, we should be more worried about getting connected with them first, having a good rapport going on, get the juices flowing. So maybe I could send them a connection request, something along these lines. "Hello, Mr. Rahul. Hope you're doing well this Sunday, this Saturday, whatever the day may be. Hello, Mr. Rahul. Hope you're doing well this Saturday. It would be a pleasure to connect with you here on LinkedIn, here on Facebook, whatever the platform may be." And then you can take it on from there. So this is how we can get started and talk with the dream person, maybe the founder or the CEO or the HR recruiter of the dream company. So we'll be discussing more in details about such topics. For today, we'll end over here. And till then, till the next session, bye bye, guys.